about what we are going to do next. And this whole process that we are living through is um, how we should bring about the, instead of from tomorrow or from next week, down back to this moment. And if we need to break it down and really bring it down to this particular moment, and for that, the easiest connection that we have, that across various systems, if you notice, whether they are the Upanishads or the yoga literature, and even if you consider other aspects of other religions like Buddhism, we have Zen, breathing practices of Zazen and others. So these practices all talk about the breathing and living in the present. So what I want to bring about is um, one particular line from the Yoga Sutras, though it is even I do not prefer usually to uh, take one line out of context, but usually we have to consider the whole sutras or the whole sequence of the sutras. But one particular line which I just want to take out for uh, today is the in the second chapter of the Yoga Sutras, that is Sutra number 16, Heyam Dukkham Anagatam. And if you if you understand, the translation is misery which has not yet come should be avoided. So if you look at it, many people who I end up teaching regularly are students, and they are always worried about what is going to happen with their exams, with their results, and what they are going to do. And see, usually when it comes to students who are participating in various exams, or who are looking to for better results, they are not able to what do you say? They are more focused on the results rather than the preparation. So I usually tell them that they have 6 months, 8 months. If it's a semester course, they have 6 months to prepare. And the whole purpose of the preparation is for those 3 hours of the exam which they are going to write. So, this is a trouble which they might face in the future. It is not necessarily something which they are going to be facing today, but it is something which is in the future. And so, what happens when you put the result before? It is like the cart before the horse. Is that you end up not being able to do the preparation very well. And so the aspect of living in the present is all about not allowing the past to cloud your thinking, and not allowing the future results to disturb you for wherever you are right now. And excuse me. So the most important aspect when we look at the practices, of course, there are all the pranayama practices, and all the asana practices will also help us in these processes going towards this. But see, when we are usually going into the thinking process, we need to understand, like typically one line from the Hatha Yoga Pradipika, which says, "Chale vate, chale chittam, nischale nischalam bhavet." So when there is a deep interconnectedness between how the mind works and how the breathing happens. So uh, this interconnectedness between the breath and the mind is something that we need to achieve. And so I would request all of you to just attempt this practice as I'm telling you. It is just to inhale for as long as you can and exhale as slowly as you can. It is just try to inhale so that you come to a point where you feel you cannot inhale anymore. And while you exhale, try and reach a point where you feel you can't exhale anymore. So if you consider it to be a loop, then try and reach the end points maximum, the end point of inhalation and the end point of exhalation. This is basically just simple deep breathing and nothing else. But I want you to try and come to the point of where the inhalation turns into exhalation and the exhalation turns into inhalation. Here, see now, I just want you to again continue the practice, but this time allow your mind to be fully focused on the point of where the inhalation becomes the exhalation and the exhalation turns into the inhalation. So allow your mind to be totally focused on that point and experience it, because the whole idea of this is to allow yourself to get into the practice. It is about trying to get into the practice of the you can talk and about the various aspects of them, but yoga is all about getting into the practice of the living. And here, I just want you to experience this, the endpoints totally. As you go on doing it, you will experience what we otherwise call as dharana. And when this time duration gets extended, then you will be able to experience the practice of, over course of time, this same duration as it gets extended becomes dana. Now you can achieve the same thing without doing the deep breathing also, in just allowing the breathing to be normal. Just go on noticing the breathing as it happens and try to identify the point when the inhalation becomes exhalation and the exhalation becomes inhalation. So just try and experience this point, because it is only the experience which you can carry on with you. And that is the actual living in the present moment. The, when you are able to do this under with the normal regular breathing, then you will experience the extension of that single point where the incoming breath becomes the outgoing breath and the outgoing breath becomes the incoming breath. So essentially what happens here is that when you start allowing the mind to dwell delve deeper into this moment, then you will start seeing that the rate of thoughts and the number of thoughts that you have through the day, many of them which you have never experienced, which you have never really paid attention to. It is these thoughts which you will start understanding, and then you will be paying attention to them. And many of the thoughts that we have that come across, are not really necessary for our specific to that specific time or to our life in general, but we do get influenced by whatever we see and whatever we hear, so many things. So this whole practice, this is a very simple practice get to get into the actual living of the present moment. And as a practice, I would suggest that people take it up for in short bursts of 30 to 40 seconds throughout the day, like at different times. You can just keep trying out how to uh, do these various practices, like uh, how so many things that we end up doing through the day, we can just do this also. Can just be with the breathing as it is for about 30 to 40 seconds, repeat it 10 to 15 times a day, and we would have spent about 5 to 10 minutes through the day. The uh, the basic fact about this whole living in the present is, like in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a I think in the second chapter there is a stanza, Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate. So that it describes how the thought process goes. Like you're thinking about something, one thing leads to another, and end result is that you start having like a great emotional upsurge, anger, or something like that on some subject, whatever it is. It could be a person, it could be a place, it could be some subject. So generally, what happens is people start having, um, like start thinking over and over again about various subject matters, whether many times it's not really relevant or related to ourselves. So this practice, whenever you feel that your mind is getting too occupied with something, or you're just not able to leave a particular drop a subject matter, then I would suggest that you just do this. Do this for those short duration of 30 seconds, 40 seconds, and you will experience the that point of where the inhalation becomes exhalation. You will start noticing that that point ends up lasting for over 1 second. Gradually, it extends to 2, 3 seconds. So this is, in essence, a very simple way to start living the actual principles of yoga, because there are so many things that that people know about yoga. There's so many things which are written, and many people already know about it. There's a lot being written and a lot of research going on. But I would like to focus on the practice, because as the Yoga Sutras have said, and even the Bhagavad Gita says that the yoga is all about abhyasa, abhyasa, and abhyasa. So the practice of it, which is the essence and that which will allow you to gain the wisdom, because otherwise, whatever we learn, whatever we come across, kind of just remains as information in our head and doesn't actually translate into our living. So uh, this is the core of all practices. Like people talk about japa, and when when you go on doing japa for a long time, whatever this is, whatever be the japa that you are doing, it leads you to a point of silence at some point of time later. So many of the practices that we do are to achieve or attain this state of momentary silence. And this particular practice is simple, just about the breath, and you just have to pay attention to it. And that is the critical part here. You have to spend those 30, 40 seconds completely with the breath, and at the point, as I told you before, uh, where the inhalation becomes the exhalation becomes the inhalation. So this this particular uh, thought process that we have, like again coming back to the Yoga Sutras, where they talk about the Ashtanga Yoga, which are the graded steps, and this practice would come under probably under Pratyahara and Dharana, probably a little bit of both, because when you are uh, when you are trying to sit down and focus on the breathing, allowing the breath to come in and go out by itself, trying to pay attention, you will have to, over the course of time, shut yourself off from the various stimuli that you are getting through all the senses, and you will have to really focus on what is happening internally. And as you go on doing that, this pratyahara turns into dharana. And that dharana will, as you continue doing it, at some point of time, it will kind of progress into dhyana. So to begin with, it is a little bit of pratyahara and a little bit of dharana. But the greatest benefits of doing this very simple practice is uh, a great state of mental and physical health, because lot of our uh, health is not only associated with how we uh, how we behave in our day-to-day life with society, and mostly with ourselves. We are not many times, if we introspect very closely, then we will see that many times we are not happy with ourselves. We are not, and nobody has major complaints about, like about people in general, but it's always the people who are very close with us, against whom we have all of this because of the expectations. So we have a lot of expectations, and so we are not able to digest the fact that they are not meeting our expectation. It's like uh, it's like somebody is not happy with how their children are doing in school or college. Children are not happy with how their parents are, what they are providing, not providing. So uh, these are the main reasons. That is the expectations with which we build within ourselves, mainly because the aspects of the the living are the difficulties which we create for ourselves, and it is these difficulties which later on uh, become the cause for various health conditions. And the other major aspect is that when we get so occupied with something, we are not good. Like, for example, we are not, if your mind is too occupied, it is very difficult to be driving or riding on the roads, even walking on the roads if your mind is occupied elsewhere. And so it is these simple aspects which uh, affect our present moment, and that in turn may lead to uh, some different health issue over a course of time. It may not happen immediately, but over a course of time, it leads to various health conditions. And this this particular uh, practice, which I just talked about the paying attention to the breathing, will help go a long way in helping ourselves to keep ourselves attentive to where we are, what we are doing, which in the course of time will not only help in curing many health conditions, but will also help in preventing many health conditions. And in this, I have seen with many patients over the years with various health conditions. Sometimes uh, people with, say, for example, people with who have been paralyzed, sometimes due to stroke, or sometimes due to injury, or uh, some accident, or some surgical uh, event which gone wrong. So even in such cases, I have seen that people, when they are able uh, to keep their breathing and pay attention to the breathing, improve their breathing patterns, then they'll find very good relief in, and their recovery process starts improving that much better. Like, for example, I will tell you. the human average is about 15 breaths in a minute. But in some cases, I have seen patients who, and I have had to physically, like count, keeping my hand on their stomach and counting the number of breaths. And I have counted to 26, 27, 28 breaths in a minute. And so, in many such cases, I have just tried to help them extend their breathing as much as they can. And I noticed in few patients when who are able to do it to achieve it very quickly, because during the course of stay in the hospital, they are able to bring it down from say 27, 28 to somewhere around 20. So their recovery rate also, their recovery also is that much faster and much better. So that is one of the simple benefits that people can get out of this. With a small example, which I am saying, even there have been like students who have found it so tough, anxious about their exams, all of that. I just told them to sit down and do the same practice. Just sit down. If it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, just pay attention to the breathing and just allow this whole process to get involved with the whole process, allow it to happen, and be totally involved. And when they do this, uh, they have come back and told me that uh, they no longer have the anxiety to face the exams or to face the interviews or whatever it is that. So, as a practice, though we have yoga talks about asanas and pranayama, and I'm not even talking about pranayama here because these are practices which uh, a lot of talk has been there. There have been a lot of research and a lot of papers on this. And the various practices like Nadi Shodhana, Brahmari, all of them have been well documented. A lot of work has gone into all of them. So, but this is a very simple practice, and even bedridden patients can do them. And you can do it anywhere you are, wherever it place, time and place, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter whether you're on full stomach, empty stomach. So, so this is essentially a practice to help anybody in whatever state of body or mind that they are. They can benefit out of this practice, and that is the uh, that is the crux of living in the present. And because this is something which nobody can actually talk about. Living in the present is not something that you can talk about, create, or it is for you to experience. It is only the anubhava which you will anubhava. The experience is all your own, and it is all about just getting into the practice and living the practice. So it's not like that's something which we can go on and for let's we can go on talking about it or writing about it, because you just can't. Moment you say living in the present, you're already in the next moment. So moment to moment, it keeps changing, and so this is in essence, this is the practice of living in the present. And so it can be, like I told you, used for people with various health conditions, and irrespective, even if people are bedridden, you can make use of this. So just coming back to the essential practice, I request that I noticed that some of you joined later. Just thought I'll just repeat the practice. To begin with, inhale for as long as you can and exhale for as long as you can. Essentially, extend the breathing, extend the inhalation, and as you're exhaling, try and reduce the rate of exhalation. Allow the exhalation to be as slow as possible, because this is another common problem. People tend to exhale very fast. So try and do that as slowly as possible, and try to become attentive to get the end points of inhalation and exhalation. Notice the end point of inhalation and end point of exhalation. Initially, do it with a little effort, and after 3 or 4 breaths like this, try and do the same thing without the effort. That is, just allow the breathing to be normal. Notice the end point of inhalation and the end point of exhalation naturally. Just become aware of these points. And do this practice for as um, as frequently as possible. Do this practice for as long as possible. And people who are interested to take and continue this practice, they can do it for any length of time. Once they are comfortable, they can do it for any length of time. Sitting for that length of time is the tough part, and allow yourself to get into the practice to enjoy sitting for, even if it is for 10 minutes. Otherwise, sitting in one place for 10 minutes also becomes tough, and many people find it difficult to keep, end up scratching yourself, turning here and there, looking here and there. So, uh, in very brief, this is the practice. Just observe the breathing, and it is as I told you before, it is somewhere between Pratyahara and Dharana when we talk of Ashtanga Yoga. And this will, over the course of time, help you to become stronger mentally and physically, allow your mind to drop most of the unnecessary thought processes and allow yourself to be more present in whatever you are doing. So that is one of the simple practices which will help you to achieve this. So with this, I just like to thank all them, like to thank all the participants for bearing with me. Uh, as I uh, as I told you earlier, I am uh, not a great orator, and I just have some experience of teaching people directly in front of me, patients directly in front of me, and uh, so my strength is teaching the practice, and this is a little new for me. And okay, so thank you all. I'd like to thank Kansuji for giving me this opportunity, and hopefully uh, with HSSC or with others, hopefully I'll be a better speaker uh, in front of the camera. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nagendra ji. I must tell one thing that I don't know how do you realize that you are such a good speaker, and the best part is that whatever you spoke, it actually went deep into the mind and the conscious. So that is the best part. So as in what you taught, it has reached to the level. Like I am not the yoga person, but I understood each and everything what you said, and I'm going to implement that in my life. So
Thank you.
thank you so much for such a elaborative and a wonderful session. And thank you so much for your patience because so patiently you have given the knowledge in very simplified manner, I think which was required. So we are sure that we'll be organizing more of such events, and we will also have you on many other platforms with us. So thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much to all the participants who have joined. I'm sure the session was really useful. You're going to adopt this. And if you have any suggestions for next sessions or the topic which you feel you want to hear, I will be happy to organize that too. So with this, I also would like to thank my colleague Pooja, who helped in coordinating this session, and entire HSSC team. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining this, and we look forward for having you all in another event soon. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for joining.